Too bad I'm not an inbox collector because I'm going to tear into this thing and get out the San Diego Comic-Con Chuckles from G.I. Joe Classified series. And once he's free from his cardboard prison, I'm going to give you my thoughts on him. So here we have the box for Chuckles. Now, I'm not an inbox collector by any stretch of the imagination, but I can appreciate a good box when I see one. Because it isn't just product packaging, it tells a story of sorts. Now, the whole thing looks like some kind of spy kit here. And the cool thing about this is he's number 75, and the dials kind of represent that as well. Here we have a turn to 7, here we have a turn to 5. The X, I'm guessing, is just a kind of a blank. Now let's open up the fold here. This reminds me of a very Mad Magazine spy versus spy type comic. Now here's a more traditional product box, right? This is like a promotional shot we would see when they were announcing the figure or pre-ordering the figure. There's a lot going on here, and there's some pretty cool things in the background. Like, when are we going to get that helicopter there? I normally won't do this, but again, I just had to appreciate the very nice box here. Here's what we get inside the box. Here is just the Chuckles figure, and then here is his footlocker. Well, this is the Extensive Enterprises briefcase that I'm assuming that we saw on the packaging there. Now, here's our little bag of accessories. You'll notice that this doesn't have the Joe logos, it doesn't have the Cobra logos, it has the pattern from Chuckles' shirt. Alright, so this was the piece that flew out. I retrieved it, just a sidearm right there. And then we have a whole bunch of stuff. There's another tiny box inside of the packaging, inside of the box, inside of the box. So what could possibly be inside here? That's what I'm curious about. Let's see. Oh, okay. So these are some of like the smaller details here. Here he has some headphones. Those are really delicate. They're really tiny. And here we have some, oh gosh, it's hard to see. Here we have some of his sunglasses. They have a nice pink metallic tint to them. Here is his alternate face sculpt. You can see that looks like he's been through it. Missing a tooth, got a black eye there, and oh, this is his Walkman. I'm guessing this is a thing that attaches to his belt based on the peg system right here. Binoculars. Now these are some very traditional binoculars. Here we have broken handcuffs, so do these would have to slip over his hands. You'd have to remove his hands and then put those over them. And then same goes with the traditional handcuffs right here. You would have to remove his hands, put these on over the pegs, and then slot it all back together. This is cool. I like this. These little details, these little world-building elements, this file folder here with the crimson bat on there. And it isn't just a flat piece of paper. You can see that it's kind of leafed out. It looks like it was grabbed in haste, and he's got to run with it. I'm curious, though, like how well this is going to fit in his hand, because it is pretty thin. Maybe on this side here, because you get a little more thickness. We have his knife. It's got the silver on the blade there and just a black handle. The briefcase. This is the briefcase everything goes into. I'm guessing it opens. It does. And there's some nice texture in there. It looks kind of leathery. His lei right here, it can go around his neck as he's having a nice tropical vacation. And these are kind of some of the fun accessories here that I was looking forward to opening. These are the brass knuckle fists. Now we got to free him from his box. Now the one thing I miss about these is they were doing these twine that you could just like undo from the back. I really liked those. I don't necessarily like the little plastic things because you have to get a tool to get that out. Otherwise you're just like ripping the figure out. And anyway, let's get him out. Here he is. This is Chuckles out of the packaging. A couple things that I've noticed about him right on the face sculpt is, let's see if we can get close in there. There are some imperfections. It looks like some of the paint from his hair got on his nose. And there is a inexplicable like Cheeto dust orange mark right there on his jawline. You can't really tell from a distance, but like when you get like super up close, it becomes a little bit more noticeable. It's unfortunate, considering he was a difficult figure to get. What are some other things I like about him? Well, for starters, he kind of adds some color to the G.I. Joes. The blue Hawaiian shirt is just absolutely vibrant. It's great. And the gold watch here, I like that a lot. But it's not necessarily a watch. You can see here that it has a countdown timer. It's, 1 second left, so I'm assuming there was some kind of explosive time to his watch or whatnot. See if that can kind of fit there. That's a fairly secure fit. And then we have his Walkman that will fit right next to it. So he's loaded up with some of his main gear here. Let's put his knife in its sheath here. Now, which way does it go? I always Always, there we go. I figured it out. Goes that way. It would have been nice to have a little strap over the handle. That would have been kind of a nice detail. But the way he is right now, I'm kind of digging him. You know what? Let me reposition the camera so we can get a little better look at him as he stands, because right now it looks like he's trying to reach the adults table. The upper body so far seems to be well constructed. The joints have a certain sticky quality to them, but they're not overly tight. Same goes with this hand right here. It's a little stiffer, but not too much. The wrists swivel pretty well. Head, yeah, you can kind of look up and to the left, up and to the right. He can do all kinds of other movements. Ab crunch. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a kind of a click. Did you hear that? That's a new one. I didn't know they ratcheted. I thought that they were smoother than that. This is where things start to get a little trickier because his shins swivel okay. His boots swivel okay. One side here, but this one I might have to heat up. Yeah, well there. No, I got it loose a little bit. What's interesting here is the knees have pins in them, which I thought we've kind of moved away from the pinless stuff in the G.I. Joes, but hey, you know what, I can kind of forgive that. It's hidden pretty well with all of the folds and pleats in his pants, and there is a crazy range of movement there. So, yeah, good on you, Chuckles. Now let's try to put some accessories on him. Wanted to see if the lei will fit over his head without having to remove it, and it seems pretty close. I don't want to force it because since he already has some paint on his nose and his cheek there that are from, I don't know what, I'm not going to force this piece. Let's try putting his file folder in his hand here, and we'll see how well this kind of holds. Yeah, pretty well. Pretty well. This is, again, the side with a little more width to it. If I use the other side, it's easier to slot in. And, oh, wouldn't you know, that still works pretty well, too. So I could kind of hand General Hawk the papers right here, and we would have the intel on the Crimson Bat. Now, the headphones are the piece that I am most worried about because I don't know how well these are going to fit on him, and, yeah, to be honest, is going to fall immediately off, and I can imagine getting lost in a lot of collections if people want to display these. They don't really fit all that well over his head. Maybe the other head sculpt. Maybe, hang on, we'll try that. No, not really. It's just awkward. They don't seem long enough for both ears to be covered like a normal headphones would. So these pieces right here are just a very loose end, I would say. Now let's try to slot his sunglasses on over his ears. Let's see what happens here. Okay, they're decent. There's been better. Well, I don't know. Look at that. that looks really crooked. So I have more faith in like this side of his head, being able to like kind of retain the sunglasses than this side. Just the way that the hair falls, and again the way that these are constructed, being so delicate, they're not going to be clamped on his head all that well. And oh, you can kind of tell that there was maybe some issues with the molding on this side, which is why it's not working the way I'm intending it to. So I think for these things right here, I'm just going to put them in the briefcase. That way I will never lose them. Unless I lose the briefcase, of course. All right. Now we're going to try to put the binoculars in his hand. This seems like a larger thing to fit in his hand. I don't know how well this is going to go, but you know what? Not too bad, actually. Not too bad. So I can't really get it in position all that well. I have to, like, tilt his head. You can kind of fake it, right? You can kind of fake it so that it looks good. And you can kind of see how I just move it up the hand right there so it doesn't, so I don't have to, like, peel the fingers back. Yeah, I like the other side better. So if you want to use the binoculars, it's kind of a nice, again, prop piece that, oh, look at that, this fell off the back too. So I'll put that back on. All right, as I was putting his hands on, you can see he's missing a fist. The watch piece here is a separate component, which I thought was really nice. Have his brass knuckles. I do like the brass knuckles the best. That in there. Oh wait, did I put these hands on wrong? Oh gosh. All right, I don't know my lefts from rights apparently, so we will fix that really quickly. There we go. So here we have the brass knuckles, and we have the kind of got in a fight, had fun doing it face. These fit over the, yep, okay. So that gives me a little time to put that on. And there we go. He's got the handcuffs there, like he broke free, or he never got quite in all of the handcuffs. He just got one handcuff. So, like, all the little details are great. It's just that I don't necessarily know if they're going to be displayed with him because They're so finicky. Let me get him in a configuration that I really like, and I'll go over some of my final thoughts because they really evolved. So I think the key here is that you have options when it comes with Chuckles. You have all these accessories here that make him stand out amongst all of the other gruff, military, guns blazing figures, and it's a great addition that allows the G.I. Joe Classified series to expand, to breathe, and not get too serious, which honestly is some of my very favorite parts of G.I. Joe, because they're just some straight up goofballs when it comes to G.I. Joe. But we don't necessarily have that problem with Chuckles because he is one of the older figures. And if I had to get really nitpicky with this figure, I would say that the sum of Chuckles is greater than the parts. While there are definitely things that I would change about him and have just slight collector issues with, it doesn't detract from the fact that he stands apart from the G.I. Joe series and that his packaging, accessory bundle, and lots of other features were amazing. I hope you had as much fun with the unboxing of this figure as I did. I love the G.I. Joe Classified line, clearly, and I'm going to be bringing more unboxings and more kind of thoughts, impressions, reviews of these figures as they come in. Again, thanks for watching.